What do the two presidential candidates have to say about agriculture? We've got their answers and a lot more on today's episode of the Arkansas AgCast, which starts right now.
You're listening to the Arkansas AgCast, where we discuss the latest news, trends, and issues impacting Arkansas farmers and ranchers. Our show is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau Federation and hosted by Jason Brown and John Nickman.
That is correct.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything more true today than that.
We're here. We're back.
It's kind of cold in here.
It's chilly. I put a pullover on. I thought it might be today, and I was correct.
Yeah, it's a good decision.
We're headed into that time where we need gloves and toboggans in here.
Yeah, it's gonna. Well, I saw that with the El Nino coming or La Nina coming in, right?
Yep.
They were saying that I almost wrote this story, but
okay,
that they're projecting a warmer, hotter, drier fall.
Oh, really?
Yeah, due to that.
Well,
so we may be in luck.
Yeah, maybe so.
But I don't like it to be hot in the fall.
No, not at all. Not at all. We're on this sort of temperature roller coaster right now.
For this particular situation in this particular spot, it might be a good thing.
That's fair. That, or we might need to invest in AgCast beanies.
Yeah, we should.
Toboggans to wear.
Brand them.
Yeah, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is Thursday, September 12th. We are in the midst of a tropical depression making its way up the Mississippi River right now.
Yep.
I was watching some coverage this morning before we came down, and looks like rain has been sort of the biggest issue with that down in Louisiana, where it made landfall yesterday.
Yes.
Several elected officials from various parishes in Louisiana talked about how so far damage had been pretty minimal, at least structural damage. So a lot of rain.
My concern is what the last storm we had, was it last weekend or weekend before? There was some downed rice. The rice just bent over and laid on the ground. I hope that's not the case again, whatever, not blown down.
Yeah.
With this storm.
I think I was going to say this later on, but I'll say it now. I talked to a farmer in Clay County this week who's pretty concerned about the wind that's going to come with this.
Yep.
Of course, that was, several days ago. Looking at the forecast this morning, it looks like we're may have some gusts depending on where you are. Northeast Arkansas will get the bulk of the rain and the wind. Here, I don't think we'll have gusts over 30 miles an hour, but they may get up in the 50s up there, and if so, whatever rice is left could stand to be damaged.
One summer when I was in college, I worked for the university farm under a PhD student, and we'd have to travel to all the experiment stations where all of his test plots were. And I swear to you, the wind didn't blow harder and the sun didn't shine brighter than anywhere than Kaiser, Arkansas up there.
Really?
Yeah, I would have to hold like a kind of like a wind blocker when we were spraying rows. And it was all I could do not to fly away on top of it. I just never forgotten about that. So when you said something about wind in Northeast Arkansas, oh yeah, I've lived it.
Well, I lived there for a number of years, and I would always joke that Chicago's got nothing on Jonesboro. That's the real windy city. It is very breezy up in Northeast Arkansas. Of course, it's all flat. Yeah, nothing to stop it.
No. Hardly any trees up there.
Yeah, that's the truth. Let me see what else is going on. I had a couple of thoughts. I guess what are we headed into week 2 of football season?
Yes,
college football season. I should say.
Well, I mean, what
or is it?
They've come up.
No,
with
it's week 3 then.
They come up with this new thing called week 0.
Oh,
right.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's when I think Florida State and Georgia Tech and a few other teams, there was 4 games that weekend. And then week 1, titled week 1, started.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean,
but I guess
what's your thoughts on it as a week 0? It should count. Is 0 a real actual number?
Yeah. Well, you're the economist. You should. Yeah. But
if you add 0 and 0 together, it's still 0.
But I think for the most part, it's safe to say it's week 3. Most teams have a record of 2-1 or 1-1. or 2-0 or 1-1 or whatever it may be.
Yeah, the Razorbacks, for instance, they're 1-1.
Yeah, that's a good example. The Red Wolves, for instance, are 2-0.
So, what do you think that record will be after they play Michigan at the Big House this weekend?
I don't foresee any Notre Dame upset type.
Do you think they may take their aggression from Texas out on Arkansas State?
Texas did a number on them last week at home. So I predict 2-1 for Arkansas State after this weekend.
Man, you heard it here first. Hot take.
You can take that to the bank.
Man, I would like to predict that Arkansas will win this weekend.
Yeah,
against or was it Alabama Birmingham?
Yeah, UAB. Yeah,
yeah. But I still haven't recovered from last weekend by any means.
Careful with that one. So
I said it was a prediction. I didn't say it was a for sure thing.
Matter of fact, when I opened up my iPad on Monday, the first thing that came up was me looking up that loss to Louisiana Monroe. We were researching on the show.
Yeah. Yep.
Last week or whenever that was. So
if they do not win this game, it will be
adios,
dire,
Mr. Pittman.
Dire situation for that gentleman. I don't know if it'll be that abrupt, but it'd be hard.
Well, you'll be proud of me. I did watch the entire second half and both overtimes last weekend, and that was I understand for most people in the state not the outcome that you wanted, obviously, but that was some of the most fun football to watch that I've watched in a long time.
Watching that first half of that game was very enjoyable, and a joy I have not felt watching a Razorback football game in a long time. And then it just came tumbling down.
But like the back and forth.
I'm used to this part.
Yeah,
I'm used to the second half. Yeah, it feels more normal.
But I don't know. The second half was still entertaining. I mean, I understand Oklahoma State went from 0 point score to 28 or whatever it was in the second half, but the back and forth in the overtime is like, hey, they could win. Oh, miss a field goal. They could, the back and forth was just really exciting. I mean, I would texting a buddy of mine who's a huge Razorback fan. I would just text him like, dude, oh my gosh, like different just little phrases. Like it was just kept going back and forth.
I've even gone back and watched not the actual game, but people breaking it down on YouTube and what mistakes that Arkansas made and all this, and that helped me reconcile the situation a little bit. But as superstitious as I am, Anthony watched my son and I and my wife watched the first half of the game, and then at halftime, Anthony went down for a nap.
Well, that means this weekend.
And then he didn't wake up until Oklahoma State won the game.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to think about that. And then it hit me. I was like, you're not going to bed anymore during football games.
Did he look at you after waking up and go, I left you with one job?
One job.
One job.
He wasn't in a very good mood the rest of the day.
Okay.
Nor was I. So
I was going to say.
Yeah. But,
a lot of good football, though, last weekend. And
what about your fantasy football team? And we've had 1 week, so I guess it's technically week 2 of the NFL season.
This will be week 2 of the NFL
Thursday
season.
Night game tonight.
We, my team and I, were successful.
So you coached them up.
I did.
Yeah.
It was tough. It was a tough week.
Was it a close win?
Mr. Lamb, somehow with that miraculous blowout that Dallas had, he didn't score very many points. So he was not trying to help me, but we got it. We got it over the finish line.
Yeah. Who'd you play?
I played Mr. Robbins.
Oh yeah.
And I walked into his office Monday just to talk to him about something else, and he's like, "Congratulations on your win." I said, "Oh, that's not why I'm here, but I appreciate that." he thought I was coming to just trash talk. Yeah. I don't know who I play this week, but anyhow, I don't expect to be very successul this year. So.
Man, not with that attitude, you won't.
Well, listen, that draft did a number on me.
What did you think of the draft? Did you had very low expectations going into it?
I did.
But you seemed like you enjoyed it while you were there.
Yeah, I did enjoy. Like I said, said this. I think the week after, I enjoyed the fellowship with our coworkers and having fun and all that.
Yeah,
I think it was a very confusing time for most people.
Yeah, and I don't think so. I think people caught on though.
Yeah. But anyway, how about your team? How did you do last week?
We showed up. We were there.
Well, that's part of the battle.
We played. We're football players, and on my team. Is this the result that we want to know?
No,
but,
of course
it was
not.
the effort.
Yeah.
We give them that. We'll get them next time.
Yeah.
Speech.
Yeah.
So yeah, I lost by 10 points, I think, to Jake, which is unfortunate.
That's a lot.
Yeah. He's my office neighbor, and
he
has not yet said anything to me about it. I know
he
wants to,
hasn't.
but he hasn't. And it is what it is. I'm used to losing in football events, whether it be in real life or fantasy.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I don't know. Maybe this week I got Tyler Oxner's team.
Yeah,
I'm
and
up against.
he won last week.
That's not good.
So
That's not good at all.
there's that. Yeah, I mean, so a lot of football news. And I'd like to just make a note that today is National Encouragement Day. Mm-hmm. And I'd just like to tell you both how thankful I am for you, how great a job I think you do on this AgCast, and how much I appreciate you.
So what's the catch here?
It's national.
You about to ask me for a favor or something?
No, I'm not, or money. I'm not going to ask you for money either. It's National Encouragement Day. I just wanted to say.
By the way, I need you to be on this committee.
Hey, listen. I just wanted to say that I appreciate you guys.
Well, I appreciate
and give you a
that.
little bit of encouragement.
And right back at you.
Are you sure you felt a little pulled, a little like
but,
you had to?
There was something else I
that
need
out.
to talk to you about. I got something I got going on. I need your help with.
Sounds like there's an off the record moment coming later.
That's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Y'all got anything fun going on this weekend?
We're gonna take Anthony to the Razorback game this weekend.
Okay.
Oh.
Is that? I guess they're in Fayetteville.
Yeah, they're in Fayetteville.
Okay.
First game in Fayetteville this season. So, he's. I would have waited a few more years.
Sure.
But we're gonna go right into it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm interested to see if we're gonna make it to half. So his nap's usually
you won't.
11:30 to 12.
Yeah.
And he gets up sometime around 3, but the game starts at 3, so his nap really needs to start at like 10.
Yeah.
That might be a little difficult.
That also means no tailgating.
Oh, and absolutely no tailgating. But we do have some decent parking, so
Okay.
we
might
be in luck there.
So testing out your theory then, if you leave.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's taking him on site, right to the scene of the action to test this out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Isn't he?
I guess I'm gonna have to force him to stay.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're really rolling the dice
Pretty
because
much.
Yeah,
he could
Pretty
be
much.
out of control at home, and just as long as he's there.
yeah. I don't know, like, if he's gonna sit in his seat or want to stay in that the 4 seats or whatever we have
he's
there.
not.
Or we're gonna spend a lot of time running around the concession stand.
You're gonna be walking that mezzanine or
think
whatever
so.
that is up there.
I think
Yep.
so.
Don't you think?
More than
And
likely.
does that count
He's there.
as being there? You know,
it counts, I guess.
he doesn't need to have his eyes on the action.
I'm really hoping he'll be like very interested in the action, because
He will
like,
be for a little bit.
I've seen him watch like baseball on TV. When they hit the baseball, he's like enamored with it. He's glued
Yeah.
to the TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen at a live sporting event, but we'll see. With the band, I think we'll be pretty close to the band, so he may be
Oh, he'll like that.
he'll like that. And he'll see the mascot and all that.
Do y'all have some of those earmuff
No,
sound
we
muff
talked about
headphones?
that. I don't think we're going to be that close to the band, and I don't imagine it'll be that packed in the game either.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I don't know. I may grab some.
Yeah.
Maybe my wife already has.
We used some a couple times.
I
with
don't think he'll
Maryland.
keep them on his head though.
Okay, well, that's fair.
He'll like if you put a hat on his head, it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So ear headphones.
yeah. All right.
We'll see. What about you? What are you doing this week?
I don't even want to tell you.
I guess you're not going camping.
We are embarking on something that I despise, and we've only done once in our 15 years of marriage. Almost 15 years.
Sesame Street on Ice.
No.
No.
A garage sale.
Oh.
A garage sale. But we have hit that point, we bought our house a little over 4 years ago. The house that we live in now, a little over 4 years ago.
Yeah.
We're kind of at that point where it's like, hey, we kept some stuff that we probably shouldn't have, and we really need to get rid of some things.
So have you already selected everything that you're going to put in the yard sale? Has that been a situation?
Not everything, mostly. Yeah. So Heather has been in charge of sort of, I'll say, clothing item, right? So everything that's kind of cleaning out her closet, Marilyn's closet, all that stuff, and I've kind of been working on my own. And then we've got some other stuff, and I think we'll be making some decisions tonight and tomorrow night as we get closer. I've got a list running of stuff, but it's just the hassle because you're not going to get rid of all that stuff. You're going to drag all of it out, get rid of about half of it, and then you got to figure out what to do with the other half.
How'd you announce your garage sale?
Well, really, I mean, I think she put it online somewhere,
You didn't put it in the Democrat or anything?
No. Are you crazy?
That's crazy? What you usually did in the past.
Have you ever had a garage sale?
I have not.
Okay.
But I've been to a few.
If we lived in a small town, maybe, and then we'll do some signs, some signs at the end of the street. Or
I just, every garage sale starts at like 6 a.m. on Saturday.
Yeah, we're going to open the garage at 7 or 6 rather.
So, no. Well, what? So, like, if our family had a garage sale, there would be a situation in deciding what we're putting in it.
Yeah.
Right? And I wouldn't want to put this in it, but my wife would be like, why do you even need that? So I can see that being a big issue of...
We're the opposite, so I want to get rid of everything. She wants to keep everything.
See, we're about... I'm not saying I want to keep everything, but there are things that I do want to keep where my wife is like, no, it's all got to go.
Yeah.
And there have been situations where some things might have been thrown away.
If my wife had a podcast, this is what she would be saying right now. There's been some situations where some things might have been.
Have you seen my blah blah blah? No. Did you throw it away? No.
Here's my problem to. I'm like of the mindset like, hey, I haven't used that in a year or 2 years. Whatever you think you haven't used it, double that, and that's really how long it's been.
Yep. Right.
And so I'm like, hey, if a situation comes up where I need that, I'd rather get rid of it today and go get it again if I need it again. Because I've watched it. I've got a blower, a leaf blower. I've got 2 of them, and one of them I'm using forever. Like, that thing's got to go. Well, maybe I need 2 one day.
What about that one piece whatever it is you've been holding on to for a few years, and all of a sudden you finally found its use?
Screw or wood block or something.
Man, I'm glad I held on to that.
So, no, I got to get rid of that stuff. I'd just rather go find it again if I need to.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're doing that. I'm not looking forward to it, but it's we need to do it. So
you gonna play any like music, a little entertainment for your customers?
No, we will have a
lemonade, cupcakes, whatever.
A TV. So we have a TV that we're gonna sell, and I plan on having some football and stuff on that
until somebody buys it.
Right.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna be up a creek. Last time we did like bottled water and donuts. As just to kind of warm you up, make you feel good about buying some stuff. I might do that.
Butter up your customers a little bit.
Exactly. I mean, other than that, I don't think so. It's just kind of set out there until we can get rid of.
Do you have a list of items anywhere that people can access?
No, I'm not doing that.
Not that.
I'm not doing that. Yeah, no.
Well, good luck,
it sounds
man.
like you should be a consultant. You've got a lot of ideas.
Exactly. He's got a ton of ideas.
I mean, I'm welcome to turn this over to you. If you want to come over.
If I'm a consultant, I'm just a consultant. I'm only an advisor. I don't do any physical work.
Last time we did it, though, Heather made a bunch of
50%.
Hilarious signs. Like she made one. So excuse me. She made one sign that was like free brunch. Just kidding. But we have toys and baby clothes and whatever. Like she made all these pretty funny signs. But I don't know if we'll do any of that. Just
you could get one of those little blow up things that shake and
a wobbly man.
Yeah, a little wobbly man.
Yeah, maybe I need to do that. She was wanting to buy something else for. I'm like, we're not buying stuff. Okay, the point is to get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
Everything we buy is taking dollars off the top. So
anyway. Input costs, man, they're high.
Yeah, that's it. Input costs.
You got to generate revenue and plus make a profit.
Yeah. So anyway,
it sounds like I'm going to a garage sale to eat donuts.
Come on
and
over.
watch football.
Get some free donuts.
And then watch the Razorback game and see if I see some random dad holding the kid up in the air like he's what's helping everybody win.
Yeah.
So
like Lion
I was about to say it's gonna be like a scene in the Lion King.
Simba.
Yeah. Exactly.
But you might even get a leaf blower and a TV to take home.
Well, there you go.
Well, you're welcome to come over. The one and only garage sale we've ever had before this. We just became parents, and so our kiddo was a baby. But this is what ended up happening as the day got longer. People started coming over just to say, hey, hey, I see y'all out here, whatever. We end up doing a fish fry on, and the whole nine. So who knows what it'll turn into. But
garage sale party.
Yeah, well,
pretty much.
If you're going to be out there, you might as well
enjoy it.
Get your money's worth. All right. Well, I guess that's enough slacking off. We should get to work here.
Yeah, that's what we're here.
Just last reminder, we talked a lot about this last week. So, but September is Arkansas Rice Month. I believe tomorrow or Saturday is also National Peanut Day. So a couple of commodities that we obviously have a big place in here in Arkansas. So think about that as you hit the grocery store or planning your menu. Incorporate some rice in there in the month of September.
Yeah.
Eat some peanuts. We buy peanut butter that is made here in Little Rock because I know they also buy peanuts from. I believe they buy peanuts from the farmers who farm peanuts here in Arkansas.
Cool. You have to put me on that one.
I will. I'll tell you all about it. So yeah, do that as you're making your grocery store run this weekend. And speaking of food, let's do a quick rundown of crop progress and quality. Corn quality, there was no reporting from USDA this week. I don't know if that's associated with harvest level or they just didn't put it didn't make the final report.
Okay.
But anyway, there was no quality reporting from USDA, as I said. Corn is about 73% done. This is all as of Monday. These reports come out on Monday afternoon, so surely this has advanced since then. So, like I said, 73% done. That's about a 15% jump over last week. The 5-year is 45%, and this week last year we were at 61%. So we're still well ahead of last year and the 5-year average there on corn. Rice quality was 81% good to excellent. That's a big jump from last week. 56% of the state's rice crop has been harvested. That's almost 20% more than last week. 100% I can tell you that's wrong because every rice farmer I've talked to this week has been trying to race and beat the rain and this wind. So
I think everybody has for sure.
So there has been some ground made up on rice harvest this week for sure. Let me see. The 5-year average on rice harvest is 23%. So sitting at 81 as of Monday is really something. And then this week last year we were at 35%.
Wow.
So really made some good headway on rice this year. Soybean quality, 73% good to excellent, holding steady. 72% of the crop is coloring with 59% dropping leaves. Almost a quarter of the soybean crop in Arkansas has been harvested. To give you a comparison, the 5-year average on harvest progress is 5% for this week. And last year at this time, we were at 10% harvested. Cotton quality is 77% good to excellent, a nice little bump up since last week. 83% bowls are open. Of course, we haven't started harvest on cotton yet. And then rounding out with peanut quality, 86% good to excellent. Peanut harvest is 3% with another 14% dug. That's a big slowdown. Basically, harvest looks to have halted on peanuts since last week. Just making that observation from looking at the report only. But my guess is farmers have turned their attention to other more susceptible crops with the storm rolling in.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like we're ahead pretty much on everything.
Yeah, I think
talking to some farmers over the last few weeks, it just seems like everything's somewhere around 2 weeks, give or take, ahead of last year.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
I would agree.
And I would imagine you're probably going to see that cotton harvest start to
tick in. Yeah, I wonder if how I keep going back to the sort of half prediction that you made weeks and weeks ago. I should go back and find the episode just to know how.
Don't do that.
How
could be wrong.
Nostradamus like you were when you said, "I think harvest could be done before Halloween."
Ooh, did I say that?
You did say that.
Let's see, that's a little over a month away.
It's not crazy to think about.
So what
With
do you
soybeans
constitute
at
as
25%.
harvest now? That if we're going to get is cotton and peanuts going to be in that mix, or are we just talking about soybeans, rice, and
I think
corn?
I think cotton should be in there. Peanuts, maybe not.
Yeah, once cotton gets going, it gets going.
Yeah,
But if it rains,
yeah.
we just had this.
That could, yeah.
And one thing about this rain, I
But
was
La
thinking,
Nina, if it's going to be
Yeah,
dry,
that's true.
You know,
did we have kind of a hurricane event last year? You know, it's kind of a traditional
Something
thing.
like that,
It's not
yeah.
new, but I don't remember if it was as something like this last year.
yeah. I don't know.
I don't remember hearing a whole lot of down rice or corn or anything like that
Yeah,
last year.
I don't either. Well, speaking of that, let's talk about Hurricane Francine, which made hurricane status on Tuesday and made landfall, like we said earlier, yesterday in Louisiana. It's now a tropical depression, I believe. But it has been making its way up the Mississippi River since yesterday.
Yeah.
And bringing rain to a number of counties in East Arkansas, especially those counties where farmers are trying to harvest rice. Obviously, that rice is a crop that can be sensitive to, especially to high winds.
Absolutely.
So a lot of guys, like we said, I think there's some areas over there forecast to get up to 4 inches of rain today and into the weekend. So the impacts could be felt in the eastern half of the state. We'll see what it says next week.
What do you think about this in the Mississippi River?
Well, that's a good question. I went and looked at the Corps of Engineers forecast, which we talked a little bit about last week. Yep, the Corps. The Corps is not really showing much improvement to the Mississippi River level at Memphis in their forecasting. Now, obviously, we've been talking about this for several weeks, but now I'm starting to see it really show up. A lot of Arkansas Business had a story on it today. Really, the Corps is not showing much improvement at Memphis, at least. Today we hit the 8 foot, minus 8 foot mark.
So last week it was 7?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And while river level drops are expected to slow over the next couple of weeks, and according to their forecast, there's not any real improvement. I think when I looked at it 2 days ago, they were projecting a foot over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Drop, which is slower, as you're saying. We dropped a foot in a week, but there's no improvement. And you and I talked about this. I talked to John Bailey about this, but we're going to have to see that rain show up further north, in order to see some improvement.
Yeah, I wonder what like the Missouri and Ohio rivers are looking like. Are they just as low? I
should have looked at that. I did not. But I mean, at the end of the day, this is basis.
I imagine they are. Sorry.
Yeah, we're going to see basis. I heard rumor of an elevator turning people away at 6 p.m.
yesterday,
every day.
Oh, every day.
Yeah. That was up around Mississippi County, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to see harvest be impacted yet again by river levels. So anyway, that's what we got on crop progress and quality.
Well, it sounds good until you got to that last part.
That last part.
Yeah.
Isn't that the truth?
Well, I mean, maybe we'll get some rain, and if not, we're I kind of wonder if, we are, as a country, as well as a state, and as well as, I mean, globally, we have larger grain stocks at this time than we did last year.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if this is a contribution to that.
River levels.
Yeah.
Not
being able to get it out, and people holding on for better prices, and still holding on to last year's crop, and
holding on, trying to wait and let that basis.
Yeah. So, like, if we still got last year's crop in the bins, where are we going to put this year's?
I remember last year being so panicked about that personally. Like, hey, bins are full. Why are we not hearing more about this? And it's just like, the farmers just kind of knew, like, hey, we've got a plan.
They just kind of rolled with it.
Yeah, I know.
I felt like, the last 2 years with the Mississippi River being so low, I kind of felt like, where's the panic? Like, this is about to get.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it didn't. Maybe this year it does.
Yeah, maybe so.
I don't know. Well, I guess we should probably get into some stories.
Let's do it.
Man, this one's terribly exciting for me. So what's your opinion of the presidential election? I'm not going to make you answer that question.
I'll pass.
But in case you were interested in both candidates' stances on current agricultural issues, you're in luck.
Oh, really?
Yeah. For the last 40 years, American Farm Bureau has published a presidential candidate questionnaire. The questionnaire is given to each presidential candidate so that they can provide responses to issues that likely impact and affect farmers and ranchers and rural communities over the next 4 years. Mm-hmm. In case you were wondering who the candidates were, Jason.
Okay. Yeah.
This year we have
sure.
Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to try to keep this cleaner than that debate was the other night. I will admit I didn't watch it, but I imagine it was just amazing.
Yeah.
So in this questionnaire, there are 14 different topics the candidates had to answer questions on. Mm-hmm. And here they are as listed: food system and farmer resiliency, farm policy programs, patchwork quilt of state regulations, international trade, tax policy, agricultural labor, sustainability and climate, energy regulatory reform, Endangered Species Act, clean water, biotechnology, rural life and health, and federal land management. However, due to time constraints here on the show, we're not going to have time to go over all 14 questions in each candidate's responses.
Thank goodness.
But I do have 3 here I wanted to go over that I thought were either important questions to our listeners, or the candidates had interesting responses, or their lack of interesting responses. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I will also say this is probably what you expect these answers to be.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whether they be broad or they're just using the opportunity to bash each other. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. That's today's politics, especially in the presidential election race. So first, let's look at taxes. The question asked was, and I quote, "As president, what provisions would you support to help farmers and ranchers remain on the land and producing food, fuel, and fiber?" So this is quote for quote Vice President Harris's response.
Okay.
Vice President Harris and Governor Walz have made clear that under their plan, no American making less than $400,000 a year will pay more in taxes, and that includes most farmers and ranchers. They will also fight to make sure the ultra-wealthy pay their fair share in taxes. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, $1.3 trillion giveaway to big corporations allowed them to consolidate power, move more jobs and productions overseas, and undercut local small business growth, including in rural communities. Under Trump's agenda, farmers and ranchers were told the only path to success was to get big or get out. As President Kamala Harris will fight for a tax code that is more fair for everyone, including America's hardworking farmers and ranchers, and doesn't just benefit the most wealthy among us. Now here's former President Trump's response. "I will take immediate steps to defeat inflation, increase real farm incomes, and grow the agricultural economy by unleashing American energy, slashing wasteful government spending, and cutting burdensome regulation. To protect the pro-farmer tax cuts I delivered in 2017, including the elimination of the state tax or death tax, as well as the giant tax cut I gave to family farmers that operate as pass-through entities, which produce more than 90% of agricultural products in the United States. I will also make permanent the provisions of the Trump Tax Cuts and Jobs Act and ensure additional tax cuts." So both kind of just additions to everything else. There,
right.
Not specific or detailed. Now this was ag labor.
Yes.
And the question that was asked here, again, quoting the question, "As president, what would you do to reform and resolve the critical labor shortage that many farmers and ranchers face each year? Mm-hmm. How would you address the issue of undocumented workers who are already working on farms across America, as well as the need for a reformed H-2A program that would help provide a long-term agricultural workforce?" I was really hoping for some real answers here.
Sure.
And if I told you we received that here, I would be a liar.
Okay.
So Vice President Harris, her response, her and the Governor Walz know growers need enough workers to support our nation's domestic food production, which is why they have supported an earned pathway to legalization and eventual citizenship for farm and other agricultural workers. In addition to strengthening the H-2A visa program administrated by both Republicans and Democrats for decades, which helps fill seasonal farm jobs with temporary foreign workers. The Biden-Harris administration has overseen nearly 50% increase in the H-2A program and strengthened it by making the application process more transparent, making visas more accessible to employers, and supporting employers who comply with the rules so that they are not undercut by those who don't. The Biden-Harris administration also is investing $50 million to help improve the resiliency of the U.S. food supply chain by addressing agricultural labor challenges and protecting farm workers. Instead of reckless calls for the mass deportation of workers and families deeply rooted in our economy and communities, Vice President Harris and Governor Walz believe in tough, smart solutions to reform our broken immigration system. This means improving our legal immigration system to function better for our economy, farmers, and workers, and reform that includes both strong border security and an earned path to citizenship. Now, Trump's response was much shorter.
Okay.
Here, his response was, to be successful, it is not enough to invest in our economy and agriculture. We must invest in our people. Under a Trump administration, we will grow more farm products in the USA and rebuild our country with American hands. A Trump administration will always put farmers and American workers first. I will prioritize merit-based immigration, ensuring those admitted to our country contribute to our economy and strengthen our country. I was really hoping there in that those two comments was, the cost of this program to farmers, not only the adverse effect wage rate that goes up every 6 months to a year, as well as the increased cost to, visa applications, transportation, housing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Seems like it would have been a good opportunity to bring in those recommendations from the Ag Labor Working Group from Congress. Because those were bipartisan.
Yeah,
those were all bipartisan.
Mention of that there.
Yeah. So.
And I've got one more here, but as we go through these, you're starting to see that they're not answering questions maybe specifically in detail.
Sure.
They're just using whatever they're talking or main points are, policy points in their campaign.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much relevant to also the parties that they represent, right? Mm-hmm. So lastly, the one I noted here, again, there's 14 questions, so this is the third and last one. Clean water was the subject. And again, the question is, as president, will you work to rein in the agency's regulatory reach, provide clarity for landowners, and faithfully enforce the decision that was handed down in Sackett versus EPA? So this is kind of that WOTUS deal. Vice President Harris's response, again, her and Governor Walz believe that every person in America has a right to clean water to ensure that no American has to suffer the dangerous effects of contaminated water. The Biden-Harris administration is working to replace all lead service lines in America, protecting families from lead poisoning, improving wastewater and sanitation infrastructure, and tightening standards for toxic air pollutants. Vice President Harris and Governor Walz will fight for the freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean water. That question was not directly answered.
That's right.
Or any response to WOTUS.
Yeah.
Now this is, lastly, former President Trump's response. I will immediately stop all Biden/Harris policies that limit the ability of landowners to make a living and save farmers from ridiculous regulations that drive up costs. This includes EPA rules and regulations that strangle American agriculture. While in office, I repealed President Obama's ridiculous waters of the United States rule, an outrageous federal power grab over your private land. I ended the federal intrusion into our family farms and our ranches. No longer should federal bureaucrats tell you how to run your business. The EPA shall never micromanage our land, or your land, I will refocus agencies back to their core missions. Although very choice words there, selected by former President Trump, he did answer that question.
Sure.
And that has been a concern to a lot of our membership over the past few years. At least as long as I've been here. Yeah, WOTUS. Yeah. Or the Clean Water Act, probably the same thing. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, we don't have time to cover all 14 questions here, but if you're interested in reading the questionnaire and the candidates' responses, which I would highly recommend you do so, you can find that at fb.gov/candidates. usa.org/presidential-candidate/questionnaire or -questionnaire.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you can find it on the homepage too.
Yeah.
I bet they'll make it pretty prominent.
So I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Of course, I wanted more answers from both sides.
Sure.
To those questions, but that is the nature of the beast when it comes to politics to some sense.
You mentioned the debate and sort of a similar theme line here, and not really providing direct responses, I'd say, from either side, much like we saw the other night. All right, well, we've talked about broadband access a few times recently here on the show, and it's a topic that is really still of interest in policy development meetings across the state. So we thought this might be a timely report from Delta Farm Press's Devin Mills and Brian Mills. As farmers know, internet access is essential to running their operations, whether that be for checking markets from their phones or connectivity of equipment in the field or pasture. In the past few years, we've seen a lion's share of federal government investment dedicated to connectivity in rural areas. But are those funds making a difference? Hopefully, we'll shed a little light on that topic here today. The Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program, it's generally referred to as BEAD, has provided $42.5 billion to increase high-speed internet across all 50 states in the upcoming years. Every state now has a state broadband office. We've had Glenn Howey, our state broadband director, on this show in the past. And the intention for these offices are to make improvements in connectivity, but also to provide some accountability for these federal funds coming in.
Absolutely.
Well, according to NAS, USDA's NAS office, 75% of farm operations or operator residences in the U.S. had internet access. And that number was a little lower here in Arkansas, clocking in at 74%.
Wow.
That was in 2017. I skipped that. I should have said that. In 2017, 75% of farm operations or operator residences in the U.S. had internet access. We were 1% lower than that here in Arkansas. Now, NAS surveyed again in 2022. I'm assuming this is part of the ag census.
Yeah, maybe.
Given the date. And frankly, the results might surprise you a little bit. Arkansas saw an 8+% increase in connectivity on farms in that 5-year span, bringing the total farm operations or operator residences in Arkansas with internet access to 82%.
Yeah.
The increase here in Arkansas represents the highest increase of the 14 southeastern states examined by NAS. In short, we're leading the SEC. Something maybe more than we can say about football, but
at least we're leading something.
Yeah, as I'll say, in on-farm connectivity. So, a question that often comes up around this topic is, what is broadband? We hear this a lot. According to the story here, for the measure described, internet access can be attained through cellular data plan, satellite internet, broadband, which is high speed, internet service such as cable, fiber, DSL, whatever that may be, or even dial-up internet.
Oh, yes.
I
missed dial-up.
So all four of those categories are covered here when we talk about internet access. Obviously, some of these options are not adequate to use for precision agriculture. Matter of fact, the FCC's task force for reviewing the connectivity and technology needs of precision agriculture in the U.S. recommends a minimum performance of 120 megabytes per second down and 20 up.
Yeah.
100 megabytes per second down and 20 up. That's what's needed to support precision agriculture. The percentage of farmers who have internet that can actually support precision ag technologies would be considerably less than those percentages we just gave. However, programs such as BEAD are prioritizing the build out of fiber optic internet to ensure reliable and fast connections. So that's encouraging. I sent this story actually to Glenn Howey.
Yeah.
And said, hey, I know it looks like y'all been doing some good work. It might be time to get you back on it. He said, actually, we've got some news coming out in October. Okay. And he said that might be good opportunities for opportunity for us to chat again. So we're planning to have him on before the end of the year.
Awesome. I would be interested. What where do you say that we had 73% or 74%?
74% in 2017.
Yeah. So and then we've had an 8% increase in connectivity on farms, bringing that to a total of 82% currently. Did that mention anything about how they're connecting?
No,
like satellite or hardwire or cellular.
Yeah, so no. So, with it being they're just qualifying internet access. So it could be in any of those 4 categories that I mentioned. The other caveat here to note, there's really 3.
Yeah.
Number 1, it could be a cell connection. It could be dial-up.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's important to know. Number 2, it's not just shops.
Yeah.
So it could be the farm or the residence, farm operator residence. So this still does not include people who have internet at their home, farmers who have internet at their home, but not at the shop.
Yeah.
Okay. The third caveat here is speed, right? So precision ag requires 100 down, 20 up to operate. And clearly, if dial-up is included as one of the options here, you're not getting 100 down and 20 up.
No.
So, again, a few caveats, but on the greater scale, on the grand scale here, we have seen an increase up to 82% of farms or farm residences covered, and we're leading the 14 southeastern states there.
There you go.
So
I'd be very interested to see how many people are still out there using dial-up.
Yeah, I don't know. I will tell you, in a lot of cases, our friends who live in rural communities across the state have faster internet than we've had at our house.
Really?
Here in Pulaski County. So I think a lot. I'm just going to. This is not proven fact, but I think a lot of that has to do with a lot of these co-ops have built out their electric cooperatives have built out
less
an
people
internet
out there
service
on that internet than there would be here in Little Rock or North Little Rock. Is that slowing it down by the number of users?
Certainly, that could be a factor. But I mean, in a lot of cases, you're talking about people that went from I cannot stream Netflix at my house to I've got 1 gig speed at my house and I live on a gravel road. In the same house within 6 months. So anyway,
you want to take a short break?
Let's do it
and hear about how you can keep rural roads safe across Arkansas.
Arkansas farmers and ranchers work 7 days a week. That means when you hit the road, you may be sharing it with farm equipment, especially if you're traveling along rural roads and county highways. Farm equipment moves slower than our pickup trucks and minivans. They may not have the safety lights and turn signals of our family vehicles either. The trucks and tractors moving down the road need extra room to make turns, cross bridges, and move through intersections too. We all get in a hurry sometimes, but it's important that we all stay safe, no matter if we're headed to buy groceries or grow them. So next time you're cruising past a pasture or field, keep an eye out for farmers. They'll be sure to keep an eye out for you too. If we all work together, we can make sure Arkansas is cultivating safe roads.
All right. My last story of the day, or week, if you will, is a little bit shorter than my last presidential candidate quotes. But and this is good news. I'm kind of excited to give it.
This whole back half of this is good news. How about that?
How exciting. All right. Well, I can't speak for every farmer and rancher out there, but I would be willing to bet that the majority of you have experience with working with your local farm service agency or FSA county office. Whether that be positive or negative experience, regardless, USDA has announced just this week an initiative to improve customer service at FSA county offices. The National Farmers Union, or NFU, and USDA announced Monday that they have signed a Memorandum of Understanding, or an MOU, to improve customer service at FSA county offices. According to the MOU, demand for FSA program assistance remains high and continues to grow, making it more difficult for existing staff to manage the increasing workload and related customer service needs for American agriculture. According to the AgriPulse article that I sourced this information from, FSA has gradually been increasing staffing levels at county offices in the past few years, but there are still challenges in providing adequate service. It seems as though NFU will be dedicating staff and resources to facilitate community convenings and listening sessions with local communities across its many state farm union division. With these sessions, USDA plans to utilize that feedback to inform ongoing investments and improve customer service. The FSA administrator was quoted saying, "Our hope is that the information gathered through this MOU can be used to guide better investment in the capacity of our local offices. Leveraging this partnership and the outcomes derived from the NFU's access to local input will greatly benefit FSA employees and the farmers and ranchers we serve. It's a win-win, quote unquote." So I think that's really good news. You know, I've heard some things about depending on, say, you're a cattle rancher in northeast Arkansas in the middle of row crop country. That FSA office may not have the knowledge base that you're looking for, you know, or the programs related to animal production, because that area is traditionally row crop.
Right.
And vice versa. Maybe if you get around the River Valley or maybe Arkadelphia, you may run into a similar situation, just kind of reversed. Right. And there may be other things that, you know, that contribute to whether it's a good experience or a bad one there at your FSA office. But I would imagine a lot of you do use those offices quite a bit, especially with the financial stress times we're having right now in agriculture. So it's good news to see that USDA and other organizations are taking note of this and notice that, you know, with this coming tough time, that a lot of people are going to be leaning on those FSA offices.
Yeah.
So.
And we do know they want to be helpful. I mean, they've
absolutely.
been here. We've had those guys here on the show to talk about different programs and whatnot. I'm thinking about Equip specifically.
Yeah.
And they want to be helpful in those offices.
That's why they're there.
So anyway. All right. Well, like I said, I'm going to continue on the good news trend here for the week as we close out the show with some news straight from the grocery shelves. Now, according to the Consumer Price Index, the cost of groceries stayed put in August with credit to lower prices for vegetables, grains, and baked goods, offsetting increased prices elsewhere in the supermarket. The same CPI shows that the cost of food eaten at home is up 0.9%, 0.9%, over the past 12 months, and food inflation remains well under the historical average, according to reporting from Philip Brasher at AgriPulse.
Okay.
Now, we reported on this metric back on the August 15th episode when you reported food inflation was down in 2024. The highest price items in the category, in the grocery cart last month were eggs, where we saw a jump of 4.8% in August, which was preceded by a price jump of 5.5% in July, which is the number that you reported on. Overall, the cost of eggs has increased 28% since August of 2023.
That's crazy.
It makes me think to that big egg price jump that we had with avian influenza.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But yeah, 28% increase on eggs since August of last year. And then beef prices have risen. We reported on that last week, but beef prices rose 0.3 of a percentage point last month, with prices up a little over 4% since August of last year. Poultry also rose 1% last month, but is up really only 1% in the past year.
Yeah.
There. Milk and dairy products also got more expensive last month, raising a 0.5 percentage point, although cheese prices remain unchanged, which is, good thing for us. USDA forecasts the cost of groceries will rise 1.2% this year and another 1.1% in 2025. AgriPulse says that's much less than the average increase of 2.7% annual increase over the last 2 decades. Now, looking at inflation on a broader scale, those new numbers were also released yesterday and showed that the 12-month inflation rate was at 2.5%. That's down 0.4 of a percentage point from the July level, and the lowest since February 2021. Real earnings also rose for the month, with average hourly earnings outpacing the monthly CPI increase by 0.2 of a point. It's looking very likely with the latest numbers that the Fed will make a 0.25% rate cut during its meeting on September 8th, as it looks like inflation just continues to cool. So,
And what was like hamburger is up like to $8 a pound or something like that almost.
Yeah, well, I reported on that last week. I believe beef price. It quoted beef prices, so it didn't really. I don't know if it's an average. I can't remember if it was an average or what it was, but it was $8.12 a pound, which is the highest it's ever been. Again, I don't know if that's an average across the cuts or what, but yeah, and obviously beef was up this month. You know, all your animal proteins, essentially, they didn't talk about pork, but beef was up, eggs were up. Poultry was up this month, but apparently we got a break on other things.
Yeah, the other thing I noticed was like, a lot of this here, about the only thing, let's just call it commodity or a food group here. Mm-hmm. Poultry is, I think, the only one here that is or eggs also a vertically integrated.
That's fair.
System.
Yeah.
Eggs, I don't know. I'm not surprised that poultry only went up 1%.
Yeah.
Because that's a cheaper production model, but. And it is interesting to see the 28% on eggs. But have you seen where, like, is it Kroger that's being caught up in a lawsuit that they were price gouging across all their products?
No, I didn't.
Like there was one or two or three that went up because of COVID.
Yeah.
But instead of just raising those prices, they went ahead and raised them all.
Huh.
So that makes me think. Is this because of the food supply chain, or is it because of that one segment? Because after COVID, we were trying to figure out where the price increase is coming from.
Yeah,
and if you look back at economist John Newton, Dr. Newton's little report, it was all from retail.
Yeah,
at that grocery level is where a lot of price increases were coming from. So I wonder if that's still the case. I know I'm kind of lingering on with this.
Well, and look, I think it's an opinion base, but one of the things that I've heard argued for the last 12 plus months is inflation. Is this coming? Where is this coming from? Is it supply? Is it supply chain? Is it retailers?
Yeah.
Marketing.
Price gouging,
and we've heard this, I'm going to use price gouging in air quotes, but we've heard this topic come up already in the presidential election talking point. So we'll see. I don't know. I think we'll see. But what we know we can report on is what the price is at the grocery store, and overall, it looks like those prices are starting to come down or level out at least.
Yeah,
so.
A lot of the stuff I mentioned just a second ago could be leaning toward conspiracy theories, but
you tend to do that.
We're big on those in our department. We're always looking for reasons why. And sometimes those things pop up.
All right. Well,
all wrapped up, are you?
All wrapped up. Believe it or
then.
not, that was a slugfest.
It was.
That was a long show.
Quite through a lot of material there.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
but now it's time for
Stump the Host.
And I'm glad for it. I went back and watched last week's episode. And,
did you?
What'd you think? It was a roller coaster.
Was last week the Little Magic Man episode? Or was that the week before?
I don't remember. Little Magician.
Little Magician.
Magician. Yeah. But, I think that might have been last week.
Yeah.
So
but we did okay.
We haven't done bad the last few weeks.
No.
So we're due for
a real whooping.
Yeah, a big L.
I hear we need to have T-shirts made.
That's
Stump the Host?
No, just for the show. That's the word on the street.
Yeah, that is the word.
That we need to wear them, or people want to wear our T-shirts?
I don't know that either of those are accurate, especially the part about people wanting to wear our shirts. But we have been requested to make shirts with our faces on them.
I've been talking about that for a while.
Yeah.
Well, that and bobbleheads. I mean,
and
you've
stickers.
just really been on that. Yeah.
It's going to have names on it too.
Yeah, that'd be a big bobblehead.
That is. We have been dubbed the Podcast Boys by President Wright. The Podcast Boys. But he has made a friendly amendment to that term, Brian.
Yeah, I'm told it needs to be the Wizard and the Podcast Boys.
Wizard.
So,
any guesses?
Well, it's not you or me.
No, it's not.
The Wizard. So is it the Wizard and the Podcast Boys, or is it the Podcast Boys and the Wizard?
I think the Wizard leads.
Well, I mean, if that's what you want, but
I can see it. I can see a T-shirt or a or a bumper sticker or something with him in like the background, a little taller than us, you know,
Looming over us.
Yeah,
I,
with a big globe with us in it, you know.
well, before we
Crystal
do, I
ball.
need to consult my agent. So
Okay.
just 1 second. Hey Siri, what's my nickname?
You've asked me to call you Wizard and Jedi Master.
So there we go.
The
It,
Wizard
it
Jedi
may, it may
Master.
work.
It's
So,
official. How about
it may
that?
work. So there we are.
That's great. I love that.
What a bright spot in my day.
How about that?
That was worth
So-
the price of admission.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the
You've
category
asked me
going to be?
call you Wizard Jedi Master. I'm going to ask my phone to call me something cool.
Did you know you could do that?
Oh, no, I did not.
How about that? All right.
Is it on me or him?
You.
That's
It's me.
yeah.
Okay. Give me the rundown. What do we got?
Entertainment, science, history. If you don't like those, I'll refresh. So
I don't know. Let's beat ourselves up here. Let's make it challenging.
You're going with the H, aren't you?
Science.
Oh, my Lord.
Just for entertainment purposes.
Thought you were going with history.
all right.
No.
All right. Should I make this easy on you or
Science is already tough enough.
all right. So
Bacteriophobia. I got that last one.
what organ in the human body is primarily affected by cystic fibrosis?
Cystic fibrosis. See,
That's an organ, you said.
Correct.
the liver,
Mm,
The heart.
No,
kidney.
it is the lungs.
The lungs. Okay. All right.
So-
got that wrong.
I see a lot of commercials about that.
I do too.
All right. So next,
That was
Entertainment,
entertainment.
since it's up there.
Prior to becoming a rapper, that would be a rapper like
A performer.
sing- yeah, not
Okay,
like
okay,
rapper like for food or anything.
Okay,
So
okay.
prior to becoming a rapper, what popular Canadian TV show did Drake star in?
Oh, Degrassi Rules or something like that.
Would you like to go for broke and get the rest of the name? Degrassi's right.
Degrassi.
Degrassi.
I don't know.
well, I know it's not the Trailer Park Boys.
Oh, boy. No, I
It's-
just
yeah.
Degrassi.
The Next Generation.
The next one.
Degrassi, the Next Generation.
Okay. All right. I said
haven't seen
Degrassi
that.
Rules.
There you
so
go.
technically I
So,
wasn't
okay,
right.
1 for 1.
Yeah.
So,
Are you a Drake fan?
No, I just happen to know a lot of pop culture, I think.
okay. So, do you
A
want to
lot. That's relative.
Fun
stay
facts.
on this board?
No. Change
No,
it.
you want to change it? All right. I will give that to you. All right. So, general, geography, arts.
We don't do well with geography. I tell you.
I mean, if I do arts,
get
it's
continents and country.
If I do arts, it's dependent on if you know it or not me. Let's go with
Go
general.
with geography then. Oh, the
General.
Okay.
Okay.
The general.
In computers, daemon, DAEMON, stands for what?
What's the
No.
the IT ticket website? I'll type that in real quick.
They're probably laughing at you. Right now, so-
exactly. If Bill or Wade listen to the show, we're sorry.
Call Bill real quick.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I also don't know.
All right. It's the disk and execution monitor.
I was going to say it was DOS's first
You know,
name.
I didn't know they integrated that into their systems these days. That's pretty interesting.
Boy, look at you just throwing lingo around.
Yeah.
Well, there you are. So
All right. Well,
that's all I got for you, unless you want more punishment.
One
So,
for three.
So we got a half a point.
I think I got more than half.
I would give it to you. I would give you
Okay,
the half
thank you.
point.
I appreciate
I
that.
gave it to him. I said
he
one for
did.
one.
Fair enough.
So
Wizard.
Well, that wraps up the news for this week. Thanks for following along with the Arkansas AgCast. We're grateful for you taking the time to watch and listen.
Yeah, remember you can catch new episodes of the show every Thursday afternoon. Find video episodes on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the audio version wherever you listen to podcasts.
Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review when you have a few extra minutes. The Arkansas AgCast is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau. I'm Jason Brown,
And I'm John McMinn.
and we'll see you next week.